You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts, Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionFit.com.
Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC.
And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back. It is time to rock out once again with your favorite bi-weekly source. I know it's mine. Hopefully it's your favorite bi-weekly source for all things options related. My name, of course, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Radio Network. Hope you had a great weekend. Another kind of head-scratching weekend, which leads to yet another head-scratching open. We'll get to all that fun. Of course, if you want more fun in your life, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. Rumor has it we will be joined by none other than the once future and present Dr. Vix. He's going to hold court tackling a bunch of your vol questions. He's also going to give us the real lowdown, the real skinny, the real behind the scenes of the risk management conference. Always a fun episode. Get on over to the Pro if you haven't done so already. If you want to get your name in the hat to join the fun, theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go as we go around the horn, see who's joining us on this fine Monday edition of the Old OB. First, out to the hinterlands of Chicago we go, where we are joined once again by the uncleest of Mikes, Mr. Uncle Mike Tosaw. And then across this fine nation, we go to the shores of Maine, where we are joined once again by the rockingest of lobsters, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. I introduce them both now because we are ready, listeners, to engage in a little bit of combat for your listening pleasure and to commence our week in high style, as we like to do. It is time for the 80s Trivia Challenge. Here we go. The pleasant tunes of quiet, sultry, unaffiliated trivia music. It could be reminiscent of any trivia program. That's not indicative of any one particular program. It just embodies an environment of trivia. All right. With that said, once again, the Twitter polls are kind of broken, so we'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. I guess I will have to pick. I could have put it in the chat if I thought about it before, but alas, I did not. So I'm going to pick. I will exercise my authority. What does the Rock Lobster call me? The benevolent dictator of the network. So we're going blue. We're going geography. Strap on your geographic pants, gentlemen. Here we go. All right. This is another straightforward one. What's the capital of South Dakota?
Buzz.
All right. Tosaw buzzing in first. He's starting to learn the game. All right. South Dakota. Have at it. Uncle Mike.
Pierre.
Yes.
Damn.
Of course, I did learn when I was checking something earlier. I typed this in. I did learn it's pronounced apparently Pier, like a peer, a friend. I did not realize that, so I don't know. I always said Pierre, so apparently I've been mispronouncing the capital of South Dakota. South Dakota doesn't get much love. Everyone knows Bismarck, North Dakota. Not a lot of love for South Dakota out there. So there you go, Uncle Mike gets a point for his new favorite, Pierre.
I don't know how I didn't buzz before him. I made the sound before him. That's total crap.
You see it, though. You see it in your face right there.
It is. Whatever. It's still total crap. But
It's not good sportsmanship to be upset if you don't win, Andrew.
I'm accepting the defeat.
All right, let's see if he accepts what's cooking in the markets, because it's time for the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the Trading Block.
All right, listeners, welcome to the Trading Block, the portion of the show where we break down what the heck is trading. Did you get the trivia? Are you down with a little bit of Pierre? Is it really Pierre or is it Pierre? Have you been mispronouncing it all these years? Or are you just old school, all you care about is Bismarck? You're all Bismarck all the time. These markets appear to be mostly green all the time, because we got some of that again today. In fact, I was joking over the weekend when the headlines first came out that the Strait is now closed again. There's, Iran and U.S. going back and forth. Then, of course, we're seizing ships and firing on ships actually there in the port. I joked that, okay, with this news, we're going to be up 3% and the VIX will plunge to 12. And I was not that far. Well, maybe I was a little bit hyperbolic. But that said, we did open up green on this news, which is kind of wild. I mean, at this point, I don't know what it takes to deter this market. You know, the rock lobster, I apologize. The once and future and present Dr. Vix, he went out and called this market action wrong over the past 14 days. I won't go that far, because at the end of the day, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. But that said, it is wild how much capital is just fearlessly thrown into the trough and being allocated on the long side, absolutely heedless of the complete uncertainty in the Gulf. We have literally no idea what is going on over there, and we have rallied 700 handles in the S&P off the bare minimum of news. I'm not going to belabor this point. We talked about it before. Just yet again, the notion that we would even glimpse green, and looks like the sell-off is starting to mitigate now. The notion that we would even glimpse green off this news is absolutely wild to me. Again, just kind of chasing the momentum out there, and apparently the algos like the momentum, and they've liked it for the last few weeks, and they like being long. You know, the magic of AI is going to save us. Sure as heck ain't interest rates. That's what we've been rallying off over the last couple of years, interest rates and AI. We haven't really gotten the interest rate cut side, but apparently AI is going to solve even the Strait of Hormuz for us, and all this backlog of oil and geopolitical uncertainty and all the other fun things that are going on. Just a baby with the bathwater. Just throw them all out, listeners, because the S&P is red right now, but it looks like it has even rebounded off the lows. Let's see, how low did we get this morning? Looks like right a little bit shy of 7,100 in the cash, so it hasn't been the most wild of days in the S&P. As we're kicking off the show, off about 1/3%. The Dow off a little over 1/10%. NASDAQ off 0.5%. As we were right before showtime, we had VIX cash at about 19.5. That put it up about 0.75 point. It's down to about 19.25 now, which puts it up about 0.5 point. And VVIX at the par level, the 100 level. So at this point, listeners, if you're out there loading up on any vol for any reason, I pretty much say good luck to you, because I don't know what it takes to make that vol move up. But you know what? He is our winner today. He is also our resident permabull. So I'll let him explain to you why these markets are awesome. And also, Uncle Mike, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, we did have our national holiday over the weekend on Friday, April 17th. New national holiday. It's known as Demolition Induction Day. So how did you celebrate the greatest day of the year, sir?
All right, so a couple things. First off, it's a holiday in St. Charles with which we do not recognize. It's like, I'll just be upfront on this one. My beloved Buffalo Bills, those teams that they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, you could argue that those are some of the best football teams of all time, but you really can't, because they couldn't win the big one. That's just the way it is. Demolition, they never won the big one. They've
longest running tag champs in history until like a year ago or something.
Oh, bullcrap.
I'm feeling I'm going to get another point here.
So, I mean, they've never beaten the Road Warriors. We've had multiple polls on the show settling this debate. it's head-to-head competition, so it don't mean a thing without the ring.
Just saying, in the WWF where it actually mattered, not some indie stuff, they had the belts way longer than the Road Warriors. Just saying.
But they didn't beat them. Just saying. Anyway, with that being said,
nonsense.
So let's talk a little bit about South Dakota. So South Dakota is home of the University of South Dakota. The Coyotes, they play in the Dakota Dome. There's often a walk with the parents before the game every week. The parents get to form a tunnel for the football players to come out, and everyone says, "Go Yotes!" So that's what they say up there is the rally cry for the team for the University of South Dakota. So not a lot of people may know that on the show, but South Dakota, the University of South Dakota and South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, they actually have quite a good rivalry up there. So and South Dakota University in Vermilion. So there's a lot going on there in South Dakota. So I think it's a good thing that we mentioned the state. And ironically, that's only one of 4 states in the United States that I've actually never visited. So there's some good useless South Dakota trivia for you, unless you're a football fan up there.
First
that's very
OJ,
useful.
now South Dakota. You never cease to amaze, sir.
You never know. So with that, in terms of these markets, so last week was very exciting in terms of where we were. We got to make new all-time highs. We were coming off of a greater than 10% rally over the course of 3 weeks. And it's always exciting when the market does that. So the fact that we're giving up 21 points today in the S&P, can't be too upset about that by any means. VIX is back below 20. Of course, that happened last week. Just went above 19 today. Andrew can probably comment a little bit more on that from the weekend effect of things. But nonetheless, it's doing what it's doing. In terms of some other things, interest rates are really not much of a factor today by any means. We're flat pretty much across the board, or pretty close to flat across the board in all the interest rate products. Have a little bit of a downturn, well, not even a downturn, just a little bit of a down day, slightly down in silver, slightly down in gold. So really not a ton going on from the macro markets, so to speak, that are happening. 20 points is absolutely nothing in the S&P, and with what's happening right now and the typical moves we're getting during the day, 20 points, that's something you can sneeze at. People say, oh, that's nothing to sneeze at. Well, that is something you can definitely sneeze at, in my opinion. The Russell up about 0.4%. So getting a little bit of movement there. Mid caps are up about 0.5%. So we are getting some things happening there in terms of some individual names. Of course, we do have oil up 5% on the day. So it's oil. Oil moves. Oil does what it does. And things are happening there. But overall, and considering the moves that we are accustomed to getting in the marketplace, we're actually not getting a lot of them today. And I think that we're just kind of taking a breather for the time being. What is the truth? What is truth, so to speak? Fox has their truth, CNN has their truth, but the market has their truth. And right now, the S&P 500 is down 20 points on the day, which is really not a lot. The S&P is kind of just saying, all right, let's see what's happening right here. We'll take some sellers. We do have the rally, the massive rally that we've had over the last few weeks. Sell off a little bit today or take some profits today maybe, and maybe later today or tomorrow, we'll see some news as to what's actually happening. And by news, meaning market movement, and that's what I'm seeing today.
Maybe we need to have another death match on the Pro, and it's you versus Dr. Vix, but not Vol. It's just Super Bear versus Super Bull. You think I'm skeptical of this market? You should hear Dr. Vix. He is not a buyer of anything long equity right now. But I digress. Out to the realm of the shores of Maine, Mr. Rock Lobster. If you have any burning nuggets about the capital of South Dakota you want to share, by all means have at. And then B, what is catching your eye at least early on in the session, another textbook Green Day until a little while ago?
I mean, you can't really top the deep local knowledge Tosaw has of South Dakota football rivalries. I don't know how you really top that. So yeah, I don't think I've been to South Dakota either. So of the states, because I remember driving through the southern end from the southern end going up through Chicago. I don't think anyway. Um uh I got Pierred by him. I can't believe I didn't hit that buzzer faster. But it's all right. I'm gonna let it go. I'm letting it go. Um um Market wise, like I think we talked about this last week. The end game is control of this strait. And the problem is who controls it. So I tell my students, if SPX was 5,000, I would say Iran does. Since SPX is 7,000, probably the US. And who knows what is going on, though. There's going to be noise, and this could take a month, 6 months, a year, who knows how long to work out. But from a market point of view, market still likes it, and we got to figure out what to do with oil supplies and all the rest of that stuff, and how long it takes the strait to because they got a bunch of ships bottled up there. They got to move, right? They're all kind of stuck there, so there's all kinds of uncertainty still there. But the fact that you kind of have like an actual like missile fire dust up or whatever, and again, I don't even know who to believe anymore, quite honest. But the market is only really, VIX is up probably 70 cents weekend adjusted, taking the weekend adjustment out, and SPX is down 20 points after being up 10% in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So I'm still more worried the fact that we spend $2 trillion a year and everybody thinks it's cool. Been doing that since 2020. So okay. But as far as like stocks go, bank earnings have been pretty good so far. The earnings picture has been good. Taiwan Semiconductor, a huge number. U.S. manufacturing appears to be growing. So there's, again, like the U.S. economy, there's always a lot of positives. And still a lot of positives going on. And usually it's in spite of the government, to be quite honest. So, but at least right now, if we can't get, I thought we'd have at least a 1% down. Something. But since I was able to put on a lot of short SPY and a lot of short VIX on Friday at about 3:30, I got 0.3. I got 20 handles of SPX. All of my SPY put spreads have made, I think they're up $22 per spread on average. So anyway, it's what we got. That's the market we have. And for right now, it doesn't really want to sell off a whole lot. So, I don't like fighting markets that are going up, and I don't like fighting markets that are going down. So I think as of right now, you kind of want to stay out of the way. And another stat I saw for listeners is only 5% of the S&P 500 are at all-time highs or at year highs. So there's actually a bunch of stocks that still could participate. I mean, a lot of the Mag 7 have come way back. I think Google is very near an all-time high. I guess Alphabet, we'll call it Alphabet, whatever. These renames are so stupid, right? Google, I believe, is right at the top of the 1-year high. Amazon trading 250. Nvidia is almost back to $200. So you got a big chunk of market cap in the Mag 7 making their move back. Facebook still hasn't come back. Microsoft probably has $100 to go, but still, that's a pretty good chunk of that's a pretty good chunk of market cap coming back. But there's a lot of stocks that have yet to go, like Nvidia, again, almost all-time highs again. So, the AI thing is still real. Like, want to see a crazy stock? Look at Dell. Dell is $200. It was down below 80 a year. So Dell, maker of boxes. So this AI build out is real. It is consuming a lot of dollars, a lot of R&D growth, and ultimately that's what makes stocks go up. And banks finance it. And that is the story we have had now for 250 years. So as long as the politicians don't screw it up too bad, I'm figuring we'll at least be 7,500 by the fall. So got to have high stock prices to get reelected. So I'm sure there'll be some kind of shenanigans to get them up there. There you go.
That's why I was surprised the Iranians capitulated a little bit last week. They know they have a much longer runway. They can tolerate a lot more pain than Trump. Trump needs this to be over at the very least by the midterms, if not a lot earlier than that. So you think they would squeeze him a little bit, and it seems like maybe some folks in Iran are figuring that out now. Let's get into some of the fun out there. Is all this back and forth in the Strait and all the other fun going on? It is, after all, earnings season. So if you're saying, enough with the Strait, let's talk some just the facts, man. We got that for you. Out to VIX land we go. Is VIX lighting it up on a Monday when we had a lot of tumult over the weekend, a literal dust up there in the Gulf, and a little bit of market action on the open? The answer is no. The VIX is looking like it's mid-August, and all of the asset managers have already left for the Hamptons for the weekend. 287,000 contracts on the tape for Mr. VIX right now. So that's the lightest we've seen it in some time. The ADV, 1.11 million. So not probably going to hit that today unless things get really wild in the second half of the session. You never know. Things could pop off at any moment. We are in a headline by headline market, but right now things look closed. Out to SPY we go. Is SPY looking like a banger today? SPY's putting up a little bit more paper, nearly 7 million contracts, about 6.85 million. The ADV is a little bit shy of 13 right now, 12.9. So is it going to hit that today? Doesn't seem like it, but then again, we shall see. The S, 2.75 million contracts. The ADV right around 5.5 million. So an interesting day out there in the S&P 500. Out to small caps. What's cooking in the land of small caps? For many of you out there these days, small caps are the bellwether of the market. Wither small caps, there goes the rest of the market. Small caps are saying straight up nearly 0.5%, about 0.4% right now, and actually putting up some numbers, 925,000 contracts. So they're pretty much one of the few of the major indices that's pretty much about at the level we've come to expect at this time of the show. The ADV is right around 2 million, so they're closing in on halfway to their ADV. By the way, if you're wondering what's the hot option in small caps today, it's about 73,000 of the 277s. Of course it's expiring today. It's an index. Didn't you get the memo? Not allowed to trade anything beyond what expires today. 46 cents for those bad boys. Looks like paper was buying them. We're at 276.82 as of this segment, so maybe rolling the bones on a little bit more upside. I'll have to go see where small caps topped out. Maybe we got above that 277 level. Either way, 277 call is leading the dance. And then we go out to the Qs. Are the Qs lighting the world on fire right now, listeners? The answer is, they're respectable, about 4.15 million. The ADV is a little bit shy of 7, 6.9. So the Qs seem like they're right about where we've come to expect them this time of the show as well. And you know what? Lest the Qs feel like they're left out, let's go see what's lighting it up in the Qs. It's over 250,000, 278,000 of these 645 puts. So we're going to the dark side. Not that far out of the money, though. 645.86 is where the Qs are right now. So they're off about 0.5%. So a little bit of put action out there. Average price for these about $1.15. So would you be a buyer of those bad boys, listeners? If that's the case, you need this little bit of a dust up to really get some teeth in the latter portion of the session. Are the single names, is this dust up? Is it causing any action in the single names? The answer is, you know what? We are more than respectable out there today, listeners. 371,000. That gets you to our old pal, the monster. You know, our barometer, our threshold for respectability is 350, so we are north of that. So there's something to be said for this market. When the macro under-delivers, the micro, the single names, they sometimes step up to the plate, and that's what we're seeing today. Kicking it off, number 10, Uncle Mike, cover your ears. You don't want to hear this number 10 one. It's Strategy, AK MSTR, 167.14, up about 60 cents today. So that means whither strategy goes, so goes Bitcoin. That means it must be a decent day for Bitcoin, even though it looks like we had a little bit of a drop earlier in the session. Pretty precipitous drop, actually. Looks like Strategy's already had nearly a $7 range, about a $6.60 range. So a lot of action out here in Bitcoin and MSTR. Number 10, 371 on the tape. All right, Uncle Mike, you can listen again. Number 9, AMD. AMD selling off nearly $5, or about 1.75%. 273.63 is where it's hanging out right now. Number 9, 371 on the tape. Number 8, our old pal Ondus. You haven't talked about Ondus in a while. I'll have to go dig it up, see when the last time we chatted about it was. Probably on oddities, if I had to guess. But nonetheless, 1069, up 69 cents, or nearly 7%. So apparently a good day for Mr. Ondus listeners. Earnings are not till next month. So they've got just the old, more buyers and sellers lighting it up out there today. Defense contracts lighting it up out there. Guess maybe shooting at some ships in the Gulf. Good for them either way, or I should say the Strait. Either way, it looks like, if you're wondering, by the way, the big dog in Ondus today, 32,000 of the May 14 calls. The stock's at $10.69 right now. Those traded paper buying them for about 43 cents, all open and flow. So it's like somebody thinks we might have a little bit of a run in front of us here for good old Ondus. Looks like it topped out this morning at 11.06 before retreating off the other side of that. Are you a buyer for some Ondus action? Interesting. The earnings are literally the day before expiration. So if you buy these, you could pretty much go right down to the wire with these, which is kind of wild. Either way, that's Ondus. Number 8. Number 7, it's the Amazonians, 247.5, off a little over $3, or about 1.25% today. Good for number 7, 491 on the tape. Number 6, the artist formerly known as Facebook, it's Meta, 673.12, off about $15.5, or 2.25%. So finally giving some back. They're going back to the layoff well. I thought they just did that, but apparently they're doing it again. Number 6, Meta, 512 on the tape. Number 5, keeping it in M Tech names, it's Mr. Softy, 419.15, off about 3 2/3, or not even 1%. Good for number 5 today. 565 on the tape. Number 4, Mr. Netflix. Man, they had a rough earnings. People were loading up, I believe it was. Well, we don't know if they were loading up or closing because there was OI on it. But the hot option in Netflix going into their earnings were the July 120s for, I believe, close to $4, $3.70, $3.80, somewhere in that ballpark. So if paper was buying those, bit of an ouchie, and looking worse today. 94.62, off nearly 2 2/3 today. So not a great day. The red streak post earnings continues for Mr. Flicks. They were, right before their earnings, they're up to nearly 109. So quite a turnaround in Mr. Flicks. Number 4, 634 on the tape. Number 3, the Fruit Company. Who knows what they're doing these days? They're kind of like small caps. They just dance to the beat of their own drum. Market's selling off, they're rallying. Market's rallying, they're selling off. Apple, kind of its own thing. A state unto itself. Trading 272 even today, up $1.81, or about 2/3%. Good for 1.09 million contracts, though. So something is lighting up the game out there in the Fruit Company today. Let's take a quick peek under the kimono, if you will, listeners. See what's lighting it up in Apple today. It's the 275s expiring today. So these 0 days are, and the single names are just driving a lot of flow. 221,000. So closing in on 250,000 of these bad boys. If you're wondering, average price 46 cents. You might be saying 275 sold to you. Intraday high, though, is 274.25. So these are obviously looking a lot better earlier in the morning than they are right now. Can they get back to 275? Are these even relevant anymore? You can probably get all you want for a nickel right now, listeners. So maybe load up if you like these. Number 3, it's the fruit company, 1.09 million. Number 2, it's the artist known as NVIDIA. 199.5, off a little over $2, or about $2.10 out there, listeners. As Uncle Mike was alluding to, they are not that far away from their all-time highs. Their all-time highs are 212.19, so back below the par strike right now. Who knows how long that could last? That could be 212 by the end of the day in this market. 1 2/3 million contracts right now. The big dog today, putting up a day's worth of paper already, it's Tesla, 2.6 million. You know, whenever they flirt with this par strike, they're above it, they're below it, sometimes twice in the same day. That usually drives some flow, and that's what we're seeing right now. Tesla, 392, off 8 2/3, or a little over 2%. They've been driving this stock quite a bit. Looks like maybe the bulls are exhausted, or maybe just more sellers than buyers. Either way, number 1 today, 2.6 million contracts on the tape. Out to the rest of the earnings cycle we go. A pretty hot week out there again this week. United Health tomorrow. United Airlines as well. So you double United, double your flavor, double your fun out there on Tuesday for United. We got IEB as well. Let's see if Thomas is making any money on Tuesday. Wednesday out to Boeing. Something across the street called CME Group. Not familiar with them. Some other little name called Tesla, which apparently pays no taxes here in the U.S. Big story coming out of Reuters this morning. Kind of interesting. One of those corporate shell games. All their profits come out of the Netherlands, I believe, something along those lines. IBM, Southwest, Thursday, going out to Nokia. We talked about some flow in Nokia not too long ago. Let's see if it pays off on Thursday. Lockheed Martin, if you're down for the defense game, a lot of folks are right now. Could be an interesting one. The other side of the airline equation, apparently the other side of the rejected merger, American Airlines, Intel. You may have heard of them these days. They are the hot name of the last week and a half. My goodness, they've been on the rampage. And then Friday, a little Procter & Gamble and Western Union for all you money wirers out there, listeners. If you're looking at the earnings move results, and earnings season reports, you're lucky. We got some hot ones right off the presses for you. Let's look right now going into tomorrow's names. United Airlines, 101.80 is where they were trading when this report came out. They were pricing in $6.71. In the past, they moved $5.94. So they are popping off again tomorrow after the bell. So you down for a little bit of airlines action? They're 99.18 right now, so they're kind of wearing it a little bit today. Obviously, this conflict not exactly been great for airlines, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Let's go out to, these are our old friends across the street. This is Boeing. They're on the 22nd before the bell, 223.5. They're pricing in 9 3/4. In the past, they've moved 7 3/4. So fully $2 more juice added on top. Again, a big defense contractor, so it's kind of hard to argue. Maybe it's not warranted, but then again, maybe you disagree, in which case maybe you're looking at a little bit of good old BA. Of course, if you're old school in the options biz, then you know AT&T, ticker symbol T. Maybe you used to call it telephone, or if you're really old school, just phone. Phone, power calls, how are they? I remember hearing that stuff and just chuckling to myself even then. But I digress. 22nd before the bell, 26.5 is where the stock was at the time of this report. They were pricing in $1.08. In the past, they moved to $1.04, so not much daylight in good old phone. Mr. Beamer, 22nd after the bell, 253.5 is where they were trading. They were pricing in 16 2/3. In the past, they moved 14.5. So Beamer pricing in a little bit of spice, a little bit of kick in the pants. Is that merited? We shall see. Out to the airlines again we go. Southwest, they've shaken up the whole thing. No more cattle call entrance. It's all pick your seat. No more free bags. You got to pay for your bags. So they're pretty much just like every other airline now. So I don't really know what makes them stand apart. So we'll see how that works on their earnings. They listen to their activist investor, whether it's good or not. We shall see. 42.70 is where they were trading. They're pricing in 3 1/4. In the past, they've moved 2 1/4. So they're pricing in a Rock'em Sock'em Robots announcement again on the back of wild oil prices. Probably not a huge surprise. And then out to the 22nd after the bell, the name a lot of you are keeping an eye on right now. It's Tesla. Do they pay taxes? No one knows. They were at the par strike when we ran this, 462 cents. pricing in $23.50. In the past, they've moved $36.50. So taking $13 pretty much exactly right off the top. Less vol in Tesla. Does Tesla seem like it's been less volatile lately? Not to me. That's an interesting one. I'm going to have to do a little bit more digging in that. Let's do one more airline before we roll on into the Rock Lobster. American Airlines, 23rd before the bell. 12 3/4 is where they were trading. They were pricing in pretty much $0.75 in the past. They've moved 62 cents. So pricing in more juice. Again, I think that's pretty much par for the course in the airlines. And I lied. One more. Nokia. We were just talking about this one. Nokia 1031. So they were pricing in $1.10. In the past, they've moved a little over 60 cents. So nigh on 2x for Nokia. Nokia's been those fins sneaking up on us. Didn't we title a show recently, Sneaky Fins? Because of those sneaky fins. Sneaky fin paper out here. If you've been slinging a little bit, and they're up at 2% again today. Trading 10.5 right now. So those fins getting sneaky. Maybe it's time to pay attention to a little bit of Nokia vol. Either way, if you want to pay attention to that or anything else that we crunch the numbers on, including the season, which right now is actually off to a bit of a tepid start with only 38 names reporting. We're at a 96% right now, so it's actually red. Probably won't stay that way for long if past is prologue, listeners, but intriguing stuff. By the way, our long-term average after another banger cycle, up to 105%, so that continues to tick up. Is the Rock Lobster ticking up in his ability to crunch some weird flow? Let's find out. It is time for the Odd Block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
Let's get weird. Let's get wild. Before we get there, really quickly, our chat talking about Ondis saying they have weeklies and the bid-ask spreads are pretty tight out there. If we did a top 20 on the show, it would be there most days since the start of the year. So some folks in our chat pretty much liking a little bit of Ondis. We have talked about it before. The show is just not long enough to do a top 20 listeners. Top 10 is usually wild enough for us. But yeah, Ondis has stuck its head into the top 10 once or twice, and apparently doing so again today. But let's go out to a name. I cannot recall the last time we talked about this, and I'll have to go dig, listeners. This is Pitney Bowes, ticker symbol PBI. You slinging a little Pitney Bowes? It's up a quarter today, or about 2%, trading $13.10. On the year, it's been a good year to be a little Pitney, a little Bow. Up 5 1/4, up 2/3. Not a bad year for Pitney Bowes. That said, they have done this dance before. They rallied all the way to almost $13 back in July. So almost exactly where it is right now before getting the legs chopped out from under it and back to $9 in November. And then they've clawed their way back, including even in March, they were still had a 9 handle, 980. So they hadn't recovered that much from November until March. So all of this is pretty much in the last month. They've done this really big move. 52-week high today, $13.18. So folks are liking themselves a little bit of Pitney Bowes. Uncle Mike's cabal buying with both hands. Apparently, you know them primarily for their postage meters. So there we go. A lot of action in postage meters, listeners. What are the folks slinging out in Pitney Bowes? Well, judging by this flow and this price action recently, I'm going to guess they're loading up on some calls. Let's see. Am I right? Oh, it's like I've done this before, listeners. It's the Ox 16s today. Paper coming in saying, how are they? They got 50 cents at 65. They said, you know what? I like the cut of your jib. I will pay 60 cents. I will take a nickel of price improvement, please. For 8,000 of these bad boys. The stock was pretty much right here when these went up. They have earnings coming up on May 11th. You're probably going to get 2 announcements between now and October. But there you go. Mr. Rock Lobster. First off, Pitney Bowes. Who knew? When's the last time you talked about Pitney Bowes? Apparently, they've been having a good year behind our backs. And B, what do you think about these Ox 16s for 60 cents, sir?
You know what? Those are those old. I remember using a Pitney Bowes like at a summer job in the 80s, like the stamp machine, the Pitney Bowes, like I worked in a mailroom in Lockheed in Los Angeles in like 1984. I remember using the Pitney Bowes machine to run anything. That's the last time I think I can remember. So what is that, 40 years ago? Something like that. But it's doing quite a parabolic move here. So something's got to be afoot, Mr. Longo. It's all I can see here. Like this stock does not go up $3 in a month. Like it just doesn't do that. So whoever's buying these calls, you got to go like, hey, they're buying the October 16s. I'm going to say anything is possible, right? I mean, it's trading at a 2-year high at least. Maybe the market for stamp machines is pretty hot. I mean, they pretty steady earner. So whatever they're making, there's a market for it. Maybe it's just one of those like classic, value plays, something like that. But they're still making it happen. So but yeah, I don't think it's a bad call purchase that far out. I mean, clearly the stock is something's going on. Wait till they do AI with the stamp machine, and then the stock's $20. That's all you need, really. That's really what you need. We'll use AI to make your stamp purchases cheaper. Who the heck knows? But I don't think it's an unreasonable, given that the stock moved $3 in the last month. I don't think it's an unreasonable price for some calls. Let's see. And of course, the big sniff test is they're 55.70 today. So they're going to close up some money, 8,000 of them. Somebody's hopping in.
This sounds like a Rock Lobster portfolio edition, if ever I heard one. Bullish move in about as old school of a name as it gets, outside of like Beamer and Ford or something like that.
Yeah,
you're right.
They've been making stamp machines since 1910, probably.
I just did a cursory glance through our almost 20 years of. I can't find the last time we talked about Pitney Bowes, so it might actually be a newcomer on the network. That's how wild is that? But yeah, Pitney Bowes listeners, more buyers than sellers. I'm looking at headlines here. I see sales forecast. Sales decline 12%. I don't see a lot of bullish, but then also an analyst upgrades this. I don't know what's driving this thing outside of Tosaw and his cabal have the bit in their teeth, and they're buying everything, including Pitney Bowes. Our chat, haven't thought about this name in ages. Yeah, with you. I haven't thought about Pitney Bowes. I guess I don't do enough shipping, Mr. Rocklad. That must be my problem. All right.
I know, because I still haven't gotten any prize for winning last year's
You're
contest.
Right. You have not. We need to identify the perfect.
So I know you don't do any shipping.
I could do a million prizes for Tosaw. I could send Tosaw demolitions for days. You are a little bit more challenging, sir. So we need to find just that right thing for the Rock Lobster. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. Our Pitney Bowes scale hasn't come yet. That's what I blame it on that. All right. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's go out to a name we have. I know we have talked about this one before, but it's been a little while. This is Coursera Inc., ticker symbol COUR, COUR, up 15 cents today, trading $6.50. Online course provider. Not been a great year for this name. They're off about almost 10% or about 60 odd cents, but looks like they're gaining some of that back. Obviously, they were a lot worse just a week ago. They were trading pretty much 52-week low of 5.25. So they have rallied quite a bit over the past week and change. 52-week high was $13.50. That came last August. Obviously, this whole sector is kind of under assault by AI. So interesting to see how this one unfolds. But nonetheless, let's go out and find out for ourselves. Is somebody feeling a little bit of long-term upside in this name? Looks like the answer might be yes. Not that long-term, though, but going out a little bit. Actually going out to mid-June. So that's, for this market, that's actually decent duration. They came out and said June 7th, expiring on the 18th. How are they? They got 45 cents at 55. So all things considered, Not a bad market. The stock was actually a little bit lower, 6 1/3 when they quoted these. They say, 55 cents sounds good to me. I will buy 4,000 of those bad boys. Earnings coming up in about 10 days, April 30th. Mr. Rock Lobster, are we looking for a little bit of a rebound in the online open course provider, sir? Sounds like somebody is.
This is again $6.50. I love little stocks because they become above big stocks. But you know what $6 stock I like the most right now? Portillo's, of course, trading at a 2026 high.
Did it hit $6 today? Let me go look. Oh yeah, 614.
Dude, I got totally degenerate and just started selling the 6.
I was gonna say, did you sell the 6s? I have resisted that urge. We've talked about that on Oddities many times. It is tempting to take that 25 cents, 30 cents off the table, but I was like, I didn't get in this game for 25 cents. I want to give myself some room to run, so I have resisted, sir. But that said, Portillo's up 614 today, up $1.50 this year, or 33%. So, dare I say it, sir? Portillo's the best performing name of the year.
It's looking pretty good right now. I gotta say. But actually, I digress because the COUR June 2026 7 calls for 55 cents. Let's see here. Yeah, and they're already up a nickel today. So, and there's 6,800 of them printed. So, I do not know what this Coursera does, but it is, a reasonable option price for the duration you're buying. Coursera is online earnings. I guess it's courses. You get courses. So who knows what company this online company was? Was it? Oh, I was looking at it. The chairman is an Andrew Ng. So I thought for a second that it might be, but that's Vietnamese. Because remember that the Chinese. What was that stock that we sold puts in when
EDU?
Yes, EDU. When China just says you cannot do online learning anymore.
Yeah, this sector no longer exists.
Yes. But this is a U.S. concern. Yeah, totally reasonable call purchase. Actually, this looks like a decent rebound play, to be quite honest. Not. Again, low prices. The stock was $12, in 2025. It could easily make a little comeback. I'm just saying it could happen. It certainly could happen.
I'm just saying those May 6s right now, 13 cents in the money in Portillo's, Mr. Rock Lobster, 50 cents bid. At 60, you could get nearly 10%. Why wouldn't you sell that, sir?
You know what? I'm laughing because I'm like, I just decided, instead of buying calls, I'm just going to sell in the money puts. I've decided, but I want at least $1 per put when I sold them.
Well, if you were in on our oddities, we sold a boatload of 5 puts again recently in Portillo's. Got them off for a pretty good level back in the last nadir.
You did?
I have not done the other leg of the wheel. I have been assigned already a couple of times on the 5 strike in Portillo's. So.
Yes, I have. So no way I'm going to be assigned the 5 strike. Oh, yes, I am.
I could reasonably let some fly here. And that 55 cents is looking kind of tempting. Don't tempt me, sir.
At some point here, they're going to make me file some paperwork because I own too many shares of Portillo.
You are now changing your name to Dick Portillo.
Yes. So, listeners, just ignore what I'm doing, basically.
All right, listeners. But you can't ignore Uncle Mike because it's Monday. It's time for the strategy block.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the strategy block.
All right, Uncle Mike, the rest of the show is yours. What do you have to say about the deliciousness that is Portillo's?
I could go on for many hours on the deliciousness of Portillo's.
Just people want to know, inquiring minds want to know, personal account Uncle Mike, you ever dabble in any PTLO?
Oh, yeah. It was one of the ones, even when I was in high school, before I ever trade a stock in my life, if Portillo's ever goes public, I'm buying it right away.
Oh, that was a day one purchase, huh?
Oh, yeah, and that was obviously not a good move on my part. So that's why you should never let your emotions, especially your taste buds, when you feel as strongly about something as I do on Portillo's, you should never let that dictate where you put your actual money-making decisions.
Well, you got to love it at $5 then.
I love that it's 17.
Yeah, I did not, thankfully.
I mean, it's Portillo's is an amazing thing, and yeah, I've been there once or twice. Let's just say that. I'm responsible personally for a lot of that market cap, not because of the shares that I buy, but because of all of the Portillo's food that I've bought through the years. I'm convinced of that. But with that being said, to add to the South Dakota football theme of the day, we'll keep it with football for right now. If you want to win a football game, your dudes got to be dudes. That's an old football saying. And what that means is that, let's say that you have a running back that typically averages 120 yards a game. If you want to win the game, you need that running back to get his 120 yards. If you have a quarterback that gets usually 300 yards a game passing, you need him to get his throw. You need him to get him his yards. A receiver who usually gets 10 catches a game, he's got to get his touches. How are you going to get your guy the receiver? Those are your dudes. Your dudes got to be dudes if you want to win the game. This last month, what we actually had with our covered call portfolio, our dudes, a couple of the stocks that we had ranked higher, we needed them to be dudes. And so we sold further out of the money calls on those stocks. And those dudes were dudes for us last month, and it worked well for us. Now, the other parts of your portfolio, let's say that you're not quite as high on some of your other stocks in your covered call portfolio. Well, think of them as like the special teamers. You want them to do their job. You want them to contain on the kickoff team, if you will, or something along those lines. But they don't have a very big role that month in the team. So maybe for them, you sell some in-the-money covered calls. You still like them. You still want them on your team, but maybe sell some in-the-money covered calls or some at-the-money covered calls. And so ultimately, you don't have to make it so that, oh, I'm doing all out of the monies this month or all in the monies this month or whatever. You don't have to do that. You can vary what you're doing with different stocks, and that's something with which we have done at times. Now, there are other times to where when we were first starting the Iran war thing, we were a lot tighter to the money at that point with everything. Because we wanted to protect our dudes, if you will. But if you have multiple stocks within a covered call portfolio, of course they're not all going to work out, but have the understanding that if you like a stock a little bit more, that you're a little bit more bullish on it, go a little bit more out of the money on it. If you like a stock a little bit less, then maybe go a little bit tighter, or maybe even go a little bit in the money. Dudes got to be dudes, and that is the strategy block for today.
And we have to go around the block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, everybody, as we're coming into the end of the show here, the market not that dissimilar from where we were at the start of the show. S&P off about 1/3%, Dow off 0.2%, NASDAQ off about 0.5%. VIX cash still above the 19 handle, if ever so barely, about a 19.10 or so out there right now. But let's go around the horn. Let's start with the uncleest of Mikes. What are you keeping an eye on for now a full week? Because I do believe you are taking a hiatus on the Thursday show, sir.
I will be taking a hiatus.
Are you going to Portillo's headquarters?
I don't know if do they actually have a headquarters?
I don't know, but I would like to find out.
I'd like to go there. If anyone knows where Portillo's headquarters is and wants to invite me there, I'd love to go there. I think that you need to just watch the headlines at this stage. A few earnings announcements. Of course, we are in earnings season, so we definitely want to watch that. But ultimately, this is a headline-driven market. I don't care how good a company's earnings are. I don't care what they say about rates right now. We are watching the headlines. That is it. We're above 7,100 in the SPX. And maybe next week I'll get to say my trademark statement.
And Mr. Rock Lobster, what are you keeping an eye on in the market till your next appearance next week as well? Everybody's gone on Thursday.
I'm option pit. Oh, so growing so big. What am I looking for? I think we have some Tesla earnings coming out. And that actually, I want to see how much money the great Mr. Musk is spending on technology. Is he buying up? Is he buying up all those NVIDIA chips for Tesla? So Tesla's back to around $400. So we'll see if he's scooping up all those scooping up all them chips.
Scooping up all them chips indeed. That music means we got no more scooping to do. It's like our chat is talking some more Portillos, a little bit of figs. Yeah, figs has been a wild one. If you want to see all that fun, got some calendars cooking in figs. If you want to see what ridiculous levels we were able to sell the front leg of that calendar for, head on over to the Pro. If you go there right now, you can get it, of course, in time to hear the once, future, and present Dr. Vix just unload on this market, unload on Uncle Mike, of course, and indeed maybe talk some RMC while he's at it, and of course answer your questions. TheOptionsInsider.com/pro. And while you're checking things out online, make sure you're checking out our friends over there at Tasty Trade. You know where to go. TastyTrade.com/podcast. The place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. And Mr. Rock Lobster, if they want to kick the tires and light the fires on some Rock Lobster goodness whose names continue to change, where should they go? What should they do?
Yes, Series Club, check it out. Things are rocking. OptionPit.com, 888-TRADE-01. Trading options here at Option Pit for 15 years. Trading options, 36. So in a couple years, it'll be my 40th anniversary.
Dang.
Crazy.
I've only been doing this for about 8 years, which is weird because the network's around for about 19. So I don't know how that works, but nonetheless.
Yes.
Check them out.
How can you be? You're only 20 years
I know.
old.
It's wild. That's
boggles
wild.
the mind.
Time is a wild thing. Check them out. I still call it the Flash in a dark alley over there at optionpit.com to learn more. And Mr. Uncle Mike, where should folks go if they want to be flashed by you in a dark alley or perhaps debate the best thing on the Portillo's menu, which, for my money, it's a little bit pricey, but the ribs.
I mean, everything's good on Portillo's. I don't. That's tough. Anyway, stcharleswealth.com. Book an appointment with me. Would love to have a conversation with any of our listeners. And we are continuing to work feverishly on our new content for the YouTube channel. Type in St. Charles Wealth Management in YouTube for more Uncle Mike goodness.
More Uncle Mike goodness indeed. That's going to do it for us on the OB. If you want to know what's cooking in the world of crypto, then join us coming up in a little bit. We're joined, I do believe, by Rob Hocking over there from SIBO to talk about all of their latest additions, new products in the crypto space. Should be interesting. Never had him on. Certainly not the crypto show, and I believe it might be his first time on the network. Maybe an appearance at OIC once way back in the day. But should be interesting stuff. They got a lot of irons in the fire on the crypto front. And then, of course, after the closing bell for the Hot Options Report. Then we're back again tomorrow. Dr. Vix gets to hold court. Should be interesting when he's unchained and off of the full network. Then he lets loose. It should be interesting. Make sure if you're listening on the Pro, start getting your questions in now. Should be a hot one. Then we're back again on Wednesday with a doubleheader of Options Boot Camp and the Futures Rundown. Then we're back again on Thursday. No Flowmaster, no Uncle Mike. Going to be a wild one. Who's going to join me? You have to find out on the next episode of the Option Block. Stay safe out there, everybody.
Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.